Hello everyone and welcome to the back room. What you see here is my favourite 800XL. I've owned this machine from new and I bought it in 1996. It came from Dixon's here in the UK in a bundle pack with a 1050 drive for £89. This machine replaced an Oric Atmos which I was very fond of, but I quickly came to love the Atari far more. Indeed, despite acquiring many computers over the years, including dozens of Atari 8-bit machines, I always loved this one most. Why do I have so much affection for this computer? Because it was my introduction to the glory of the Atari 8-bit machines, and because it has a fantastic Alps Type 1 keyboard that I've never bettered on any other Atari. It's clicky, mechanical and fast, rather than mushy and slow like so many of them. However, this computer has been in storage for a long time, and it only recently resurfaced when I wanted to do some serious word processing with WordStar as part of a video I'm preparing about Atari 8-bit CP/M. The stock 130XE I've been using has a horrible keyboard which gets in the way of typing and which prompted me to find the 800 and break it out of storage. Despite being in a box at the back of a cupboard since 1998, the 800XL proved to be working fine, as you'll see in the upcoming CP/M video. But it has a weird red button on the back which interferes with my Fujinet device. While I can still get the Fujinet to work, I can't mount it properly in the SIO port. I couldn't remember what it is, but I assumed the button is some kind of cold reset switch because I hated having to power cycle the computer to switch between applications. But as that was only a guess, it was time to open up the machine and have a look. I popped off the top and carefully folded the keyboard to the right so as not to strain its cable. And wow, the interior is like some kind of art installation, like the computer version of Tracy Emin's bed. There's a largish board to the left of the motherboard housed inside an empty packet of antihistamine tablets, which I'm assuming I used as some kind of insulation for a memory upgrade. Wires from the rear button meet with a small piece of strip board with a 74LS86 chip, which has other wires coming off it in all directions. And by the way, that 74LS86 is a quad XOR. On the right of the board, there were more wires poking through, but not actually connected to anything. Amazingly, and as I said, the computer is actually working perfectly despite this chaos. But because the Fujinet is fouling the switch and unable to be pushed fully into place, and reluctant though I am to disturb the beauty inside this machine, I wanted to remove the switch and its associated circuit and wires. So it was out with the pine sill and the solder reel and time to start doing some serious removing. I began by desoldering the two wires attached to the switch. Then I removed a wire soldered to the ground plane. This one was stubborn and did not want to come free, and it wasn't held by using a pointed tip on the pine sill, which doesn't really concentrate enough heat in one spot. Next, there was a wire picking up 5 volts from the cartridge port and another at pin 8 on the MMU. And at this point, if you know anything at all about Atari 8-bits, you're probably shouting at the screen, "It's Bob Woolley's hard reset switch called the freezer." And yes, of course, you'd be right. It was as I desoldered the MMU wire that I remembered what this circuit is and what it's supposed to do. It's called the freezer because it cools down the warm reset you'd get from the reset console key, to a full cold start, just like a power cycle. The idea is that if you have a large memory upgrade as a RAM disk, you can boot different applications with your RAM disk intact because there's no need to cycle the power. You press and hold the freezer switch, press reset and wait until the screen goes black, and the result will be a cold reset. The last wire to remove is soldered to pin 11 of the GTIA, which had been bent up out of its socket. After desoldering it, I removed the GTIA and set to work removing the remaining solder, cleaning and straightening the pins, and cleaning its socket with IPA. The final job was to remove the actual switch. I put the case halves back together and now the Fujinet fits just fine. True, there's an ugly hole in the rear of the case, but this computer was mine from new and it'll be prized from my cold, dead hands when I die. It's certainly not museum quality and it carries many scars, but each one tells an interesting story. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching everyone and see you next time in the back room.